Today I want to show you the process of listing something for sale on Etsy. It was requested on a previous video, and I know a lot of us use YouTube to see how to do things before we do them, so I thought this was a great suggestion and would be helpful for anyone doing research about using Etsy. If you're already selling on Etsy, this video probably isn't going to be helpful for you. But if you're newly starting out or still on the fence about using Etsy, this video might help clarify a few things about the process. Today I'll be listing these keychains for sale on my shop. I'll be showing what it looks like to make the listing, as well as how the various options will look on Etsy for your customers. First, a quick disclaimer: this is how the process is for me in August of 2021 in the US. Even just in the 3 weeks it took me to make this video, I noticed several changes to the Etsy website, and the process may also look different for different countries. So if something I show is different or incorrect compared to where and when you are watching right now, it's not my fault. Once you've set up your account, you'll have this Shop Manager icon in the top right. Then you'll go to Listings on the left menu. Then click Add Listing on the top right. That brings you to this page with lots of spaces to fill out, but you don't have to do it all at once if you aren't sure about something. They actually give you the option to save it as a draft just in case you aren't ready for the item to go live on your page yet. The first thing you'll do is add some product photos. Photos are easily one of the most important things about your listing since it's the largest and first thing people will see. I have a video about how to take better photos for your listings if you want to know more about that. Be sure to take several photos that show your product in a few different scenarios and angles. To start adding your photos, you'll click on the Add a Photo box. If you've already uploaded your photos to your computer or device, then you can simply choose your photos from wherever you have them stored. Etsy recommends using all of the photo spaces if you can, but it's not required. Your first photo is also going to be your thumbnail or preview photo, so I would definitely recommend using the option to adjust the thumbnail. This is the first photo of your product that people will see when they're browsing Etsy. So you want to zoom in and crop it to show enough detail to get people interested. After that, you can continue to fill the rest of the boxes with different photos that you've taken. Once your photos have all been uploaded, you can also adjust the order that your photos will appear in on your listing by dragging and dropping them where you want them. The first photo will be first, the video will come second, and then the rest of the photos will follow in the order that you choose to arrange them. Next, it'll give you the option to add a video. If you've already got a video ready like I do, you'll add that the same way you added your photos. If you don't have a video ready, don't worry, you can always come back and add it later, even after you've published your listing. I'm actually working on making a YouTube video about what I do to make videos for Etsy listings, so if it's ready, I'll link it. If not, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Once your video has uploaded, you can preview it, and if you don't like it, you can always delete it and add a different one. Right now you can only have one video per listing, but that might change in the future. Next, you'll add details. This is the informational text that will appear next to or below your item. First, you'll come up with a title. The title is important because it tells your buyer exactly what the item is, and it's also used by search engines. I try to put the most important words first and then more descriptive words after because on some devices, longer text gets cut off. Some people use the end of the title for extra keywords to potentially help with search engine optimization, but it can also look cluttered, so that's up to you. I'm going to title this Keychain Lavender and Bee Clear Acrylic Charm. This way people immediately know what it is without the title being too long, but feel free to use whatever format you think makes sense for you. Next, Etsy wants to know who made the item. Etsy brands itself as a unique marketplace, so they want to offer things that you can't find other places, so you have to specify who made the items that you sell. I did means you created the entire product from start to finish. I use this option for my art prints because I made the artwork and I printed them myself. A member of my shop would be if you have someone else helping you. For example, you've hired a friend to help make some of the item that you sell. And another company or person is for if you've outsourced some or all of your production. This is the option I'll be using for these keychains because I don't have the supplies to make plastic keychains, but I did make the artwork, so it's still unique to my shop and qualifies for Etsy. And it's a finished product, so I'll choose that option. And Etsy also likes to know when your item was made. Next, you'll choose a category. I haven't sold keychains before, so I'll type in keychains and choose the option that sounds most like my item. Next is the size, and the way this looks will change depending on the type of category you choose. For example, when I sell art prints, it asks for a height and width and if it's oriented horizontally or vertically. When you fill this out, it should appear right above your description on the listing. I also usually type it in the description as well. Don't get overwhelmed by all of these options. All you're doing by filling this out is creating more ways for people to find your exact product. If you don't fill out every optional thing, it's not the end of the world. To be honest, I usually leave a lot of the optional areas blank because I've never searched for something by color, and I rarely search by holiday or occasion, but do it if it makes sense for your product. Next, pick your renewal plan. Automatic means Etsy will keep the listing active and charge you 20 cents every 3 months without you having to do anything. And manual means that after 3 months, your listing will get moved to inactive, and you will have to manually renew it for it to appear in your shop. I usually set new products to manual, and if they do well after 3 months, then I'll change it to renew automatically. This way, I'm not wasting money and I can put more emphasis on the products that do sell. Next is what they call the type of product, which is really important. If your product needs to be mailed out, it's physical, and if the buyer will download it, it's digital. It's vital to get this part right, otherwise you could have problems when someone orders your item. Next is the description. You can put as little or as much here as you want. It's also a good place for some extra keywords. One thing to keep in mind is that most people aren't going to read a big block of text if they don't have to, so prioritize the most important information first in case people don't read the whole thing. What I consider to be important would be the size, materials, care, and function of the item. This is where someone will look if they're on the fence about buying something, but sometimes I buy things without even reading this part, so if something is vital for the buyer to know, consider showing it using a photo. Next is adding a production partner. This only applies if you selected another company or person as the maker of the item. In this case, it was Sticker Mule, and I already have that option listed, but if you're starting fresh, you'll click Add a new production partner and put in as much of the information on them as you can find. Usually their website will tell you where they are located and any details you need. You have to specify why you worked with a partner, what your role is, and what their role is. These will be based on your unique situation, and if you aren't sure, just fill it out as best you can. Next, Etsy lets you have different sections on your page to show and sort different categories of items. Currently, each listing can only be in one category at a time, so I choose to categorize by item type. This is my first keychain, so I'm going to make a new section called Keychains. Then for tags, I'm going to use as many different descriptive words for this item as I can. Try not to repeat words as searches will pull from all of them. This process usually takes me several minutes. I just sped it up so that it wouldn't be boring. Below this, Etsy also gives you the option to list your materials, but I tend to skip it since I list them in the description. Next, set up your inventory and pricing. If you need help figuring out your pricing, you should watch my video about planning your Etsy shop. I'll link it in the description. For quantity, you can choose between the maximum amount that someone can buy at once or just the amount that you have available. You will have to update this if it sells out. I don't use SKUs or really even know what they are, so you'll have to look up another video for that. Variations and personalization are somewhat advanced and will depend heavily on what you're selling, so I'm going to skip those for this video. Finally, the last step is to set up your shipping options. This will definitely take some time and research. I already have shipping profiles set up, and I already know that this item will ship in a similar way to my pins, so I'm choosing that. When you set up your shipping profiles, you'll be able to choose between having a set price for each item or having Etsy estimate the price for you. If selling online is something you want to do for the long term, I'd recommend investing in a shipping scale. I'll link some in the description. And I'm still new to tariff numbers, so I'm also skipping that for now. And this is the very last part. So off camera, I assembled an example of my product and weighed it in its packaging so I know what numbers to put here. And there's a cool feature down here at the bottom that will preview different prices for shipping based on the information that you've provided. If you've filled in all of the required sections and are ready to start selling, you can publish the item right away using the button at the bottom of the page. Etsy has given me quite a few free listings for using their referral link, so that's pretty nice. But yours will likely say something like, "Do you agree to pay 20 cents to list this item?" And then you'll agree and it'll go live. But if your store isn't open yet, you can save the listing as a draft and access it later from your listings page by selecting drafts here on the right. You can also see a preview of the listing before you publish it just to make sure that everything looks good. Once your listing is active, I highly recommend viewing it in your actual shop as well and making sure everything looks good on that end. You can edit your listing directly from the shop page as long as you're signed in. I like to check on my listings this way periodically to make sure that they are always up to date. Definitely take advantage of the Save as Draft option instead of feeling like you have to do it all at once and get it all right on the first try. You'll likely make a couple mistakes when you start, but they won't be a big deal and you'll be able to move on and fix them. Remember to be professional even when you're just starting out, and if you make a mistake on an actual sale, be sure to communicate with your buyer. Most people are understanding as long as you try to make things right. I hope this video helped you to get an idea of what it'll be like to post your products on Etsy if you're still getting started or if you're feeling overwhelmed about setting everything up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.